Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A lair owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community lair. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators.
Today's topic, Analog Revolution, was inspired by a band of intellectual vigilantes based in a region of this planet called LEJ, Georgia. They sling records and sell printed zines out of a local coffee shop, and you can follow their work at analogrevolution.com. I was reading a copy of that I picked up on a road trip like a year ago, but never got around to reading before I lost it. And so since I'm moving recently, I found it when I was digging through my stuff, and I read it, and it was interesting. It was cool. It was good. But I was also talking to an ex-roommate of mine at the same time, who's sort of a doomer and like a, encroaching dystopian hellscape fantasizer, I'll say. And we were talking about how maybe going back to analog is really the answer to protecting yourself against AI-enabled digital dragnets, because it's a lot harder to surveil VHS tapes than to just tap into everything that's already connected to the internet at all times. So anyway, that's what I figured we would talk about a little bit today. But before we get to all that, I got some headlines. What's up, John? We got John here.
You were muted there for a while.
Yeah, the whole time?
For most of it. So that's cool.
Cool, man. Well,
when you started saying like aliens or monsters or something, that's when
you tuned out.
No, that's when your microphone started working.
Okay.
So I missed like the first 20 seconds, and then I turned my weird camera on and made a face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you can hear me now. I think it was all you.
What'd you say?
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, dude, you had like the fucking microphone doesn't work symbol on your
no way.
Thing.
Yeah. Oh,
you had like the muted thing.
I thought you were making a joke.
Nah, dude. I was being serious. I was trying to figure out what you were talking about. I had no book. What's the title of the book?
Yeah, thanks for the backup then. So yeah, talking about Analog Revolution. It's a zine I picked up in Georgia. It's a bunch of people talking about stuff and things. And you can check them out on analogrevolution.com. And I like them. They remind me of a bunch of free-thinking hippies. So that's fun. Hey, I am from So I wanted to try something. I went through what I could remember about some of the news and stuff that's been going on. I was sick last week. Sorry about that. Yeah. And I was particularly interested, before we get to the, escaping the AI digital dragnet and going analog to protect our privacy and all of that. Yeah, let's talk about Roseanne. What you know about Roseanne Barr?
Wasn't she on a talk show or something?
She was on a talk show.
Click big or whatever, and I didn't watch it.
You believe that? She was on a talk show?
Not a big fan.
Well, I honestly am not a huge fan either. But what I thought was interesting was that she got censored on YouTube. And I mean, that isn't surprising.
But that was years ago, right?
No, recently.
Again.
Yeah, no, this is not so she said some shit a long time ago and it was like a big thing. And then she said some shit again and it was like a big thing. It's like a thing she does, right? Yeah. So Roseanne Barr was censored on YouTube for making a joke of questionable taste where she pointed out the dangers of censorship and the absurdity of a platform like YouTube being able to dictate what is and is not true. And specifically, she highlighted YouTube's misinformation policy that deplatforms people for suggesting the U.S. presidential elections may have been rigged, while promoting people who suggested there was no election fraud in the 2020 elections. Right? Right. So she goes on to suggest that this approach is problematic because YouTube is implying, with that policy of them deciding what's true, that anything it doesn't censor must be the truth, which obviously is a problem, right? But the way she said it was, she was like, the example she gave was that YouTube allows Holocaust deniers to say that Jews, the demographic that she's in, were not slaughtered by the millions, as historical records show. The Holocaust never happened. And she was like saying, oh, that must be true because they allow that conversation on YouTube while they censor other stuff that's not true, like the elections were fraudulent. That's not true. They censor that, right? So she was basically, she made a shitty joke, to be honest. It wasn't very well delivered. It wasn't in good taste, but she was making a joke that was trying to point out the absurdity of that policy. And I thought that was really interesting. Anyway, she got censored, which is ironic. So what do you think about that?
Well,
she also said it that we should be glad the Jews run Hollywood because otherwise all we would have is fucking fishing shows, which was I thought was a decent joke. Which, hey, you know what? That's the joke I can get down with.
I think if you want to talk about like the most recent one, I think Pierce Morgan is a joke of a person and a character and an idea, and I think he is a sensationalism journalism mass, like he is I said that backwards. He's a fucking piece of shit masquerading as sensational journalism. Like,
well, what's the difference then?
Yeah, so yeah, like I think that's to me so like when you invite Roseanne Barr on your show, what the fuck do you think is gonna happen?
Oh, is that who that was? The guy with the mullet?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
no.
You invite her on your show because you're going to get a different demographic, and hopefully some of them will stick around and boost your views, your weekly views. That's why you do it. You know, she's like the shock jock. She's going to say something absurd, way out there in left field for many people, and she's going to get attention. And just like you and I, and all of us, and three of us now here are all talking about this, and well now I got to go check it out. So it's all about ratings. It's all about getting more people to watch the show.
And like it's especially about getting more people to watch a show that's one, already garbage, and two, that's just like the premises of it is two people that don't ever agree with each other yelling at each other. It's like if Larry King took cocaine. Is what it really feels like.
It's in the White House.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like it's reality television on a news channel. While you were talking, I went and watched the most recent clip of her on, like, which is
So I was talking about a podcast with Theo Vaughn is the one I was talking about.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Theo Vaughn's a fucking nutcase too, but
I don't know who Theo Vaughn is. I
he's
probably recognize the face.
He's a comedian that turned into a podcasting. I woke up like 15 minutes ago. Went to bed at
That's all right.
2:30 in the morning.
As you should.
No, I woke up like an hour ago, which is worse, and went to bed at like 2:30 in the morning. So I'm mostly awake, but also kind of annoyed at the world because I have to be up this early with very little sleep. No, Theo Vaughn is he's a comedian that turned into a podcaster / YouTuber as an alternative to people that wanted Joe Rogan, but with a mullet. Like it's.
I thought he was really good in Escape from New York.
Yeah, and I'm glad he did.
I think that's what he looks like. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Are you talking about like the old movie and he was a kid?
No, that guy.
No, I'm joking. He's just with the mullet and like the kind of. I could see him. I could see him in that role.
Yeah, he's kind of like a shock jock interviewer, if that makes sense. He has like people that are fucking weird on like weird ass comedians on his show, and then they talk about weird ass shit masquerading as if they're normal people. Like, cool, dude.
That's what gets the clicks and the ratings and the people listening and the news headlines and stuff like that, which is probably why this is probably why the joke was that, if you want to call it a joke, I didn't think it was very funny, but the attempt at joke from Roseanne was crafted the way that it was because she had to know that was going to get attention, that was going to get a lot of people talking about her.
John, what was that between the two ferns? Who was that? And what's
Zach
your
Galifianakis?
Yeah.
So that's like satire with I think that's a brilliant show, but that's like satire with like one with a point and a point of view, and then also it's like so here's all right. I got to talk about this. I'm teaching a class on Friday about it's a lecture class on the idea of yes and in improv. So I've just been thinking like very academically about comedy and talking about that a lot lately. So like with comedy, the reason why we laugh instead of cry when like comedy happens is because we know in the end the person's okay. Right? Is usually what it is. Hey, this is television. This is a play. You know, if we watch somebody get hit by a bus, we don't laugh. But in Mean Girls, when the piece of shit girl accidentally steps in front of the bus and gets hit, it's funny, right? There's a difference. So like in Zach Galifianakis' show, there is like, we know this is fake, right? This is a fake PBS television set. The music makes it seem fake. Zach Galifianakis has this beautiful undertone of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then the actors are also in on it, right? Yeah. Which is different than Pierce Morgan or Joe Dirt. I forget the Theo Vaughn. That's his name. Sorry. Like that's different. We're like,
yeah, like when he says something obscene and offensive and degrading on Between Two Ferns, the actor's in on it. Everybody knows it's a joke, and you can go a little bit. Like when he says, "You shaved your head for V for Vendetta. Did you also shave your V for vagina?" That's an inappropriate, also immature, stupid joke.
What the hell did I just walk into?
But they're there for like a satire show in the beginning. They're not. You know, it isn't. People don't take up arms.
My coffee.
Yeah, go for it. People don't take up arms over him being like sexist or something in that case because of that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, like I think like some jokes are in good taste and some aren't. Like there's no like if you were to change the context, like jokes are. It's all about context, right? The context of somebody getting hit by a bus is funnier in Mean Girls than in real life, right?
I don't know.
It is.
It's not something you would watch on, America's Most Funniest Videos or whatever it is.
Probably not, unless it was like a person humorously getting hit by a bus.
Well,
Right.
I think we have to talk about this in the context of normal people that aren't psychopaths. Also,
Yeah,
Alright,
because
cool.
you have to
We'll go
remember
with
there was also a grotesquely successful series called Faces of Death that people sold on VHS tape
Oh,
that was
yeah.
actually
God.
film records of people being hit by buses and trains and shit.
Yeah, but
and
people weren't
bought it
watching.
they bought it for entertainment.
Remember bum fights?
So yeah, so
Oh,
two things
God.
about both those things. One, like, I keep pressing spacebar, which keeps removing David. So like, you're still here. You're fine. I just put you
Actually,
back.
I'm actually in the kitchen.
Well, fine. You're gone now. So like, so like the bum fights thing and the faces of death or whatever. First of all, I don't think, no matter what people say, they're not watching it because they think it's funny. They're watching it because they're fucked up. There's something with that, like it's like asking.
That's a big part of society that's effed up with, because a lot of people are watching that.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
well,
God.
like, but they're also, I don't think they're really in their heart of hearts watching it because they're funny, and also because like it's like asking the Joker to tell you a joke. Like,
yeah, as I remember
a
it,
good-
like the friends of mine that did watch that shit, it was more of a like, oh my fucking god, did you see that? It wasn't a ha ha, he blew his head off. It was
so
different.
like I've met a couple of people in my life that are kind of more like ha ha, he blew his head off, and I'm like, that's
that
creepy.
exists. That exists.
Yeah, that exists.
Sure.
But also, from the morbid curiosity standpoint, I feel like it's definitely more that than actually people watching it for fun. There's a channel that I watch all the time on YouTube, and it's called Police Activity, and it basically is it's just a whole collection of officer involved shootings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't watch them because I'm just like, I'm gonna watch these people get blasted today. I'm more like, how does this process go and get to this situation and stuff like that? So I feel like that's more of like a curiosity than just being like entertained by people getting shot.
we like, so like the topic was, we were talking about Roseanne's bar, and then it kind of went into like
The two birds.
David, you're out of your element, David. You missed a little bit in the beginning. We went off on Roseanne a bit.
Yeah, so we were talking about that, and then it went to like,
or I mean, maybe not. I don't know. You should do
What
something
is
bad.
comedy kind of thing about two ferns, between two ferns?
I mean, other than Roseanne constantly doing things that are kind of shitty, but
and then we went to, like, what is satire? Yeah.
Speaking of the narcissists and the psychopaths and sociopaths, whatever, however that's defined in the DCM, whatever thing, I was recently watching a video. Well, I've watched this guy for quite some time. He's a professor. I think he's from Austria, and he studies narcissism. Mm-hmm. And I got a chance to actually have him respond to one of my comments in a video. And it was basically, is the amount of narcissists and psychopaths per capita growing in society? And it was said it was yes. And it's a difficult number to find. I've Googled it. I've tried all these different places, searched it up everywhere I could. And it was hard and this guy, being one of those top professors of, mental health and narcissism, that's a pretty scary thought, that we as society, whatever that number is, let's say it's 3% of us. And within that 3%, there are some that are far worse, the Jeffrey Dahmers or whatever, all the way down to, your neighbor next door that, is just a little off, but, goes to work every day and, okay,
Bill.
Whatever. But Bill. But long story short, when you think of that population is no longer now 3%, maybe it's 6%, that's kind of scary.
You're increasing.
It makes you wonder too.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, is that number larger because there are an ungodly number of human beings on the planet comparatively, or
this is percentage based, right?
Percentage based. Okay,
that's percentage based.
So I wonder. I wonder when that begins.
Well, I
always tell my wife, if someone cuts you off on the highway or something, don't react. You never know who this person is.
That right there, Jackie, I love dearly, but she does this thing where she doesn't really get that if you make constant eye contact with somebody in traffic, they're gonna be a little unnerved or things like that. So like, she'll have somebody, cut her off and she'll stare at them for a while. And I'll be like, honey, just just don't do that. You're gonna piss that guy off. And she's like, how? So like, yeah, I wonder about that sometimes. Like, who's the crazy person sitting next to me?
Yeah, and I'm always curious with like a lot of these things. It's like, are we? Because like I assume this guy's sampling like a whole lot of people, right? I'm curious if he is. I think the real question is are we creating more narcissists, or are we just able to talk to more people? Like,
That's
are
a
we
thought,
able,
too.
or are we asking better questions, or are people more willing to
Is
tell to
is
answer these
polling-
questions honestly also than we were before?
Is polling getting better?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Is
Yeah.
polling getting better?
Well,
Which
according to
after the
this
last presidential
professor-
election, who knows? But
According to this
past-
professor, no, it's just the opposite. The percentage is increasing.
yeah, so I think that's the interest. Like, I mean, I can see that, but also like, if you what are we losing in replacing narcissism with? Like, you know what? I'll replace narcissism with like, unless you want to define like, I would define like people that are like religious extremists as narcissistic.
Yeah.
Because they're like, this is my God and this is who it is, like, and this is the only way, the truth and the light, and if you don't do this, you're fucking wrong. Well,
And I'm right.
it's not all about me, it's all about Jesus, you know what I mean? So like, you know what, I'll take a couple more people that are self-centered and get rid of a couple of other people. Like, that's fine. As I think as the world like becomes less and less like religiously centered and obsessed, you might see the number of people that have narcissistic tendencies go up. We can lose the cults.
Yeah, I would say that it would have to change like the percentages of who exhibits what personality traits, the ratio of all the different ones. I would think they would have to change with how dramatically our experience of what life is has changed recently, you know, and how we experience other people, and how common it is for like us to hang out on the internet, and you know how common it is for us to be influenced by people who are like, look how great I am, and then people agree. You know, there's one of my favorite singer-songwriters, Jewel, has a line talking about basically influencers
That was a
in the
good laugh.
90s who said, talking about people on TV who say they're better than you and you agree. And that sort of propelled, you know, even into like OnlyFans or something, you know what I mean? It's like this center on one person and like, yeah, we're going to give them our money and we're going to promote them and they're going to be great. We're going to do what they say. We're going to wear the shoes that they wear. We're going to smoke their brand of cigarettes, whatever it is, kind of thing. But that's just become everything. Everything's connected to the internet, right? Related to the whole, you know, digital dragnet thing. Everything's connected to the internet. We have the refrigerator connected to the internet. Everything is in
It's
this
crazy. I can play
hub.
Doom on a refrigerator.
Yeah. So like, I would think my only point is that that's such a dramatic change. And then the real-time communication and like how fast news travels and stuff. The experience of what life is and the world around you has changed so much that I would think people have to change, you know?
And also like, I'm curious to see what the difference is after like COVID, like, because that's going to change everybody in a lot of ways. And I'm curious to see what the actual repercussions of that
already has too. I was going to say the whole world is wildly different, and not some of it's not necessarily a bad thing. I like kind of that there's no longer much of a stipulation about just wearing a mask out in public. That's kind of interesting. I mean, there's sort of
America.
Well, just like okay,
shit in other countries.
You know, side note, real quick on the mask thing. I've decided I like it because now I can go buy Bitcoin and Monero at a coffee shop wearing a mask and sunglasses, and it's not weird.
So there's that. Yes. When I had to wear a mask constantly for Amazon and for the first couple of months when I was back here, I got really used to making faces at people under that mask, so I had to stop that, which has been hard. But I do just for general health. Okay, other countries, Japan, for example. God damn it! Oh, that's Jackie.
Asian countries who particularly who've done that for years. You're talking
they don't
about,
have any real issue with wearing a mask and stuff like that in public, and that's probably led to them not being sick as much. So hopefully people just won't spread colds as much. Kind of
it used to be a common courtesy. You get sick, you wear a mask so you don't get other people sick.
Exactly. And when I was in Japan, that's how it was in the early 80s. You were sick, you just wore a mask. You get on the subway, and that's how it was. You get on the train, that's how it was.
Can Jackie hear
No big
us?
deal, so I was used to it. But to
Yeah,
second
Jackie
your
can't hear you, but I can repeat
to
everything.
second your point, Dave, I agree. I feel much more comfortable when I go into a bank with a mask and a gun.
Yeah, it used to be you couldn't just wear a mask into a bank. That was suspicious.
Did anybody else notice that as soon as Jackie came in the door, David said, "God damn it"?
Well, he thought it was a customer, and then he's to his credit, he said, "Oh, it's Jackie."
I know, but I wanted to be funny.
Oh, speaking of funny,
That was a bus joke. Someone got hit by a bus. I couldn't laugh.
No, it was fine because we all know things are okay. We all know that David and Jackie are still doing great. We're all
yeah, you're not an
friends.
asshole because we know that it
It's
was
all right.
sarcasm. Yeah, that was kind of the whole point you were making.
Yeah, and it's
which
not
I
like,
agree with. I think, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like actually unusual, Anyway, there's a whole.
So we talked about, with my microphone off half the time, apparently, we talked about analog stuff. I want to come back to that. We talked about Roseanne and the line between satire and being a douchebag. There's also, check this out. There's a local story from Gainesville. American Airlines detained and interrogated a teenager at the Gainesville, Florida airport for using an app. What was it? Skiplagged was the app name. Using an app that finds cheaper ways to fly to cities you want to visit. They canceled the ticket he purchased without refunding it, made him buy another ticket to the destination for a higher price than his original itinerary, and then banned him from the airline for 3 years. America, fuck yeah.
Is this, wait, what airline was it? American Airlines?
This is American Airlines. Yeah. So what he did is a thing called throwaway ticketing, where because of the way that airlines price shit, it can be cheaper to buy. So in his case, he was going to Charlotte, North Carolina from Gainesville, Florida. He bought a ticket to New York that had a layover in Charlotte and then if you just you don't check your bags and you just don't catch your connecting flight and you get off at the airport in Charlotte, you save some money because airlines price things that way. They can't just do an a la carte, each leg of the trip costs this much, whatever, right? So an American Airlines, a corporate security, took him behind the desk into a room and interrogated the kid. It was his first time flying alone. He usually flies with his dad. And he admitted that, yeah, he was going to get off in Charlotte. He didn't intend on, using the full ticket. So they canceled the ticket, didn't refund it. First of all, he never did anything. He just said he was going to do something. They didn't let him get on the flight in the first place. So it isn't like he did the thing. He had to buy another ticket to get to Charlotte at a higher price. And then they banned him for fucking 3 years. You know what I mean? So I just thought
this was a minor.
Kind of wild.
A minor that they
I don't think he was a minor.
He's probably a college student.
I think he's a UF college kid going home for the summer or something like that is what I think it was. The article called him a teenager because that gets people angrier,
18.
Right? Yeah, he could be 19.9 and he's a teenager kind of thing. But yeah, so I just thought it was interesting. Banned for 3 years. They took money from him. Detained him. See,
I heard the laws and regulations, all that really support the airlines. So I bet there's not going to be very many attorneys that are going to take this up. They might negotiate something like, okay, kid, we're going to get your money back, and we're going to, throw you $1,000, but now you're going to be banned from American Airlines for the rest of your life.
Yeah, he violated terms of service. He violated the agreement with the airline is what he did. And actually he didn't. He just said he was going to.
Right.
Because they didn't allow him to get on in the first place. So he actually didn't do it. He just said, yeah, I'm going to. So I don't know. I just thought that was I thought that was just an odd reality. I don't like it. I don't know. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's super fucking weird. It's also weird that they interrogated him about it. Like we're gonna take you behind a room and ask you questions. It's like, this isn't like, was it TSA that was interrogating him?
No, it was American Airlines private corporate security. Like not even security, probably whoever their people are.
So my question is, how did they even know?
I don't know. I think it must have been. So his dad has been using this Skiplagged app for a while, and that's what it does. You put in your destination, and it says, okay, you can get there cheaper if you buy this ticket to this other city, and they just don't make your connecting flight. And so his dad's been using that for, he said, years. And so what must have happened is his dad must have bought that ticket through Skiplagged on the app for his kid, and then sent his kid on the flight. Maybe his son had the same name as him. I don't know, right? So they must have had his account flagged as a traveler already. And then when he went and checked in, they were like, oh, you're back. Let's talk, that kind of thing. So I think that's what must have happened.
Making you talk.
He had a history of doing that, I guess. Like, man, this guy always misses his connecting flight. How weird is that?
I think it's so weird that like when there's like terms of services that are like you're not allowed to do things cheaper than we want you to.
Yeah, he paid for a seat the whole way. Like the seat's paid for.
Yeah,
they sold him the seat.
Can you imagine?
If you don't sit in it, we're going to take money from you.
In Charlotte, they're freaking out though. They don't know who didn't get back on the plane. Should they wait for this passenger? They can't sell that seat now. So
now,
so what if you can't sell the seat?
They already sold it.
They already bought the seat.
Yeah.
I can buy all the tickets I want to Lakers games, but I don't have to go. And it doesn't let other people sit in the seat. I can be a dick, buy the entire courtside seats for the Lakers game, never go to a single game. But if somebody sits in my fucking seat, we're gonna have an issue.
It's
terms of service is I'm an asshole.
They basically what they did
coming
was
back and having no context. It's my favorite thing about this damn show. I came
we
back
love it too.
Just I am an asshole. Like, okay.
I'm going to cut that part out. That's going to be your catchphrase now. But yeah, basically what they did is they sold a seat. It's like whenever you sell somebody something and you don't know how to price it and you're like, oh, okay, how about this price? And they immediately are like, yeah, I'll take that. And you're like, shit, I should have charged more. That's basically
my entire life in a nutshell. Or when if I tell somebody something that I think is a low ball and they take it like, oh, awesome. And I'm like, damn it, I could have given you like $20 and you'd have been fine with it.
Do you know what TMF-INR is?
No.
I've got TMF-INR in chat. I don't know that acronym. I know a lot of acronyms, but I don't think I know that one. Too much fucking itinerary, not roundabout. I bet Google knows.
Yeah, I have no clue.
It's a company.
Oh.
Trust Management Finance. It's a Dutch multinational professional services firm headquartered in Amsterdam.
Well, yeah, go them.
Yeah, what? Why are they in our chat though? That's my question.
It's not. That's Joe. He's saying
Good morning, Joe.
He wants us to talk about it.
Oh, I don't know anything about him.
Joe's got to come on to explain.
Did they do a thing?
Funny.
Maybe they did a thing.
Did they do the thing? Maybe they did the thing.
While we look up the thing, here's something else I wrote down. Sarah Silverman is suing AI companies for copyright infringement. So our AI startup's pulling a Groove Shark. Basically, the idea, John, you I think mentioned this too, right? Like authors are complaining that AI companies are scraping their books without paying for them. Like, are they
AI's creepy because of that?
Yeah, are they downloading them? Do they have a library a library pass and they just get them all for free?
Data. That's interesting.
What I read about it was that there's like there's a shadow library, right? Which is basically like they torrented a bunch of stuff. Or it's a bunch of stuff that was torrented, so they're getting it from ways that you're not legally allowed to get it from.
Realistically, we probably know where they came from.
But the other part is that like it I don't think it was like a direct line. It was like somebody else did this, and then it's like they got their info from the same place probably or something like that. Which it probably did. And also like I was thinking about it too. I'm like Meta is like Facebook, Meta or whatever, like their AI stuff, like they're probably using the personal information data they get from us to inform the AI as well.
Oh, of course they are. So, I mean, how else would they have? That's how I would assume, and this is complete speculation just immediately off the top of my head. That's probably where they get like decent speech patterns and things like that. It's just from overall communication and comments, things like that, just people talking. on
Why-
There's
Facebook
like
posts.
gazillions of hours of audio uploaded to YouTube and podcasts
Yeah,
and
just
stuff every
tons
day.
and tons
So
of it.
there's plenty
Yeah,
of
but-
examples of people talking.
That's
That's
a good
different.
point too. Well, I meant like text-based. I don't know if that's different.
But even I don't want my text-based society being rep like being the same as like what's on Facebook. Like that's not good
no.
writing. Like why can't we all
It's
just
an awful example.
yeah, right? Like why can't we just have like AI only read like the good stuff, you know?
Give it Shakespeare. Well, then who decides what's the good stuff? That's when it gets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rules.
Can
for
we give it
life.
like Shakespearean English and stuff like that?
Do you want all right, first of all, can you understand Shakespearean English?
No, not a bit. And I try
Yeah.
real hard.
That's not the way to do it then.
Or like give it like the language from the Odyssey and stuff like that, so nobody would ever be able to have a clue what the AI was saying anyways. So it's
Or we
great.
just have to listen to each other. We can't just pick out a couple words that
People
we
don't know
like
how to
and
do
yell
that.
about those. Oh, you said the words whatever and whatever. I'm not angry about your opinion. No, we need a little bit more of a deeper dive into actually what we're saying here.
I found out.
I'm not defending people that say dumb shit. I'm more saying that we should be yelling at them for the right things.
We all feel mildly spicy this morning. I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's better. It's a better vibe. So hold that thought. Rewind a little bit. I found out what TMFINR really is because it's an airplane thing. That's why it was in chat.
Ooh, I like airplanes.
It's apparently there was a viral video. I'm not on TikTok, so I didn't see it. There was a video of a frightened lady saying TMFINR and exiting a plane recently, and it went viral. She can be seen terrified and urging other passengers to get off the plane with her. It was uploaded to TikTok, and in 3 days, it had 14 million views and 1.2 million likes. And now, apparently, it's internet meme, and there's merchandise. And
Here.
So basically, she's yelling about like a reptile in the back of the plane.
yeah.
Oh, that's what the yelly lady was. Okay, that makes sense.
She said, I don't give two fucks, but I'm telling you right now, that motherfucker back there is not real. And you can sit on this plane and you can die with him or not. I'm not going to.
So
That-
TMF ISNR is that
I love that
motherfucker
one.
is not real.
That's
I
an
love it.
alien thing. Cool.
That's
Give me
awesome.
that.
I love it.
That's an
I didn't
alien layer.
See, this is a learning show.
reptilians, which were one of my favorite
LSNT?
hoaxes of all time. But you know,
LSNT.
that's
That's
awesome.
great.
though.
I'm going to have
I
to go
didn't
check that
realize
out later.
Yeah, I didn't
So
realize
shout
she was
out
saying
to-
you just
Yeah. Shout out to Reptilians for making a.
shout out to
Yeah.
reptilians.
Yeah, I mean, I
Great.
think they get a bad rap. I really do. I think we need to be more inclusive with reptilians that have infiltrated our society.
I mean,
Well, at least
Honestly,
we at least need to
The way
say
the
that so
world
they're
is.
nice to us when they take over.
the way the
I-
world is, honestly, if you start yelling about that enough, people will start jumping on board without even question.
I live in New York. There's a whole thing about it.
Hey, you live in New York. You've got the closest thing to reptilians. You have New Yorkers
Yeah,
around you.
Exactly.
Hey, do you know where New Yorkers come from?
New York.
No, when a seagull consumes enough garbage, they just become a full-grown New Yorker.
Oh, that's
Wow.
cute.
Yeah,
That's why I live on the water.
yeah. That's why you're up on top. You're far away from the lower seagull clan.
What am I looking at?
Oh, so we're back on the topic.
One of my
again,
favorite
we
places in the world.
deviated from.
But I didn't say that.
Yeah, so Z Library is a shadow library. It's a place. So talking about sellers, the argument about AI companies scraping data that they don't have either legal or copyright access to or something like that. And one of the places you can do that is this place called Z Library. I've used them before for research.
I never heard of it.
They've got an onion address in case it's just like Pirate Bay. They keep getting taken down and they keep popping up at different domains. So they have an onion and an I2P address as well. And they have printed books in PDF form as well as audiobooks in a couple of different formats.
Not sponsored,
And-
by the way. It sounds dangerously like we're advertising this.
Yeah,
Get your Z.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
information
Do with
wants
this
to be free.
information what you will.
You can also go to your local library and get the same stuff.
I like that. Information wants to be
Oh,
free. That's
shoot,
good.
I got overdue library books.
So-
I actually had do you remember in High Springs growing up there used to be a video store called Video City, and I rented a video game there one time and I forgot about it for like 2 years, and I took it back, and they told me, all right, your late fee is $647.11. And I was like, cool, let me go get my wallet. And they had me like leave my jacket as like collateral, and I just never went back. So I lost a jacket.
Or you can just buy the fucking thing.
I mean, that was my thought, but I was also like 15, so I was like, I'm out.
I love how that's
Every
an
time you
excuse
drove
for
by
most
that
things.
place, you were like, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna see."
I kind of ducked every time I went by. I was like, they're gonna snipe me as I go near.
So yeah, I think that there's definitely a line where for-profit companies, you know, if they're profiting off of someone's work, especially if they're ingesting it en masse digitally, I can see where the lawsuit's going there.
Yeah.
I'm probably on the side of the author in that one. AI is also like, it's going to scrape everything though. If you just turn it onto the internet, it's gonna ingest illegal shit.
Did you
So
see
in
that
that
voice
case,
actors are as well are having some issues with a bunch of stuff with AI generated
Oh, yeah.
speech? Speaking of that, like with that kind of stuff, I also noticed that this is going to become an issue at some point if it hasn't already. I've noticed on YouTube there's a whole bunch of music that is recorded and covered by AI that is like, you know, a modern song done by somebody who's dead.
Mhm.
For instance, Frank Sinatra there's one on there that is was it the
Gainesville,
somebody. There's
Gainesville.
one that's called the Somebody That I Used to Know song or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There's a cover of that, and it's him and fucking Squidward from SpongeBob, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it sounds incredible. It is uncanny, and it's really unusual. So I'm wondering at some point, like, when are the estates of those people going to start to be like, hey, fucking quit that?
Yeah, this is IP.
Which I'm good with. I'd really like them to not do that. I like the way some of it sounds, but I can see that definitely being an issue.
Yeah, and it's likenesses, and this is what I was saying a while ago whenever I first saw that, was that there's no way that like Disney is not going to heavily use this technology for that purpose, because they legally own people's likenesses and people's IP, and they can just generate shit. They do it already with Star Wars and stuff, you know, they bring dead people back, and now they're going to have full scenes that are generated that way.
For James Earl Jones to sell his voice to Disney, you know, as Darth Vader or whatever, I think was brilliant, because to be honest with you, now AI can generate that.
He made a fortune right before, like right. Disney's sitting there like, God damn it!
Brilliant move.
Well played. He had insider knowledge.
I don't know if he has any.
How are you going to stop that? Really? How is that? Because that's going to propagate through society, and we're not going to know what's real, what's not real, what's AI, what's not AI. Eventually, and it's going to.
Jackie and I were talking about that yesterday.
To go back and try to sue everybody and maintain that copyright.
Like what happens to the point, and I'm sure this has probably already happened, and I know we're on a tangent, of course, but like with political stuff, I mean, at any point you can have like an AI thing fire up and make it sound like if I was a politician, but I said anything, and there's going to be a percentage of people, case in point, reptile lady on the plane, that are going to believe any goddamn thing that they see, no matter what evidence is presented against them. So it's going to hurt people regardless. So.
Not too long ago, there was an AI thing that the Pentagon had gotten hit by a missile strike, and the stock market went down for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the same thing.
Someone could have made a boatload of cash from something.
Probably did.
Someone probably did. I was going to say, if somebody didn't, then they were missing out. Some day trader was like, finally.
Well, these are all things that are going to happen anyway, and I think that the focus needs to be on how do we manage it.
Right. Not how do we stop it, how do we manage it?
Yeah, how do we manage it? How do we mitigate the dangers of it? Trying to put the brakes on it, trying to stop it is just, it's not, first of all, it's not going to work. You're going to be spinning your wheels. You're going to be wasting so much resources and time and energy and money trying to stop something that cannot be stopped.
The
only thing that you can do is try to manage it.
They're going to make an example of a few people, and it's going to be ugly, but they're still not.
And then it's still not going to work. Ross Ulbricht is still in prison, serving consecutive life sentences for undercutting the
drug cartel.
Yeah, there you go. I didn't know how to say it, but basically, you can make examples out of people, and those people's lives are going to be ruined, and then you're still not going to stop it.
Yeah.
The person who did the same thing, who published a website literally called Silk Road 2, got less jail time than Ross did. You know what I mean? So there's no consistency in the application of the law. and there's no dude was a first-time offender, never hurt anybody, never allowed things like assassinations and like illegal, immoral porn to be traded on his website. But he sold. He let people sell drugs. Yeah. So fuck him, right?
Vivek Ramaswamy, the guy who's running for president, he says he's going to pardon Julian Assange, Snowden, and he's going to release Ulbricht.
Good. Vivek, good name.
That's why he won't win, but good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he won't win just because he just won't win. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
He's not one of the majors, right?
No. He's third, I think.
He's not.
On the polls.
Yeah, he's not preordained.
He's third in the polls on the Republican side. He's actually.
I haven't even started looking yet, honestly.
He's a libertarian and a failed comic, stand-up comic, and he graduated from Harvard and Yale.
Is he a failed comic though, or is he just a comic?
He's a failed comic.
He's playing the long con.
Is that like a failed musician? Like, what is a failed comic? You couldn't make it your full-time gig and get paid. Is that the definition of a failed comic?
He tried it a few times.
He was not funny
in Boston. He was not.
He sucked.
All right. Well, no, yeah, that's those are all examples of things that you can't stop, but you can ruin people's life over. So
another thing, you can't stop the signal now.
Porn and AI. Look at that. People plugging
oh, good God.
Faces and heads on bodies.
That was insane. I remember the first time I discovered that, and I was just like, "What am I looking at right now?" And then the face. Have you ever you've seen these before? Obviously, we've all been curious enough to go.
I've made them. I made Jack Sparrow with tits just to see if it would work.
That's awesome. Do you have that still, just for research purposes?
I don't have it currently on it. I got it, yeah, but
I mean, don't put it up on screen. But I mean,
eroticism layer. You got to put that up in the eroticism layer.
Please go put it in there because it's actually fine.
Coming soon to the eroticism layer.
Jack Sparrow
with tits.
People wanted that layer so bad, and then fucking nothing.
It's disappointing, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah. There's no dick pics. There's no.
Welcome to our life. Okay, listen. We also had like a golden opportunity a while back when Reddit went down, and we didn't seize that. So just throwing that out there.
People were always going to go back to Reddit.
Yeah.
It's habits. Habits are hard to break.
I haven't. I feel really good about it. I've looked at Reddit when I need to, if I'm like looking up something for a customer, and half the tech boards are still gone. Side note. So that makes me feel pretty good. Pisses me off when I go to find something about a printer for 5 years ago, but I feel good. I haven't gone back.
I I gave up on Reddit during the 2016-2017 fork debate for Bitcoin Cash. Wow,
I genuinely thought you meant a fork.
Yeah, I am for AM. That was messy, wasn't it? That was confusing. It was psyopy. It was like intentionally confusing people. It was like it wasn't productive. It wasn't good. Like nothing good came out of it except for people bitching about this is the real Bitcoin and that's the fake Bitcoin and
right. And now but what that did for me was it kind of opened up my eyes and said, whoa, it's not just in Bitcoin. Hello, it's like everywhere, with throughout Reddit, all the censorship and that kind of thing. It's like
leveraged it to make it a political decision about a technical problem.
Right.
I think.
Side note, Bitcoin Cash, people have been talking, it's been pumping a little bit lately, and people are talking. There are some people are catching on and saying, hey, wait a minute, it's scaling better than Bitcoin. Fees are lower, has almost the same quantity. It is essentially Bitcoin. And there's some bigger investors that are starting to look at it again.
It doesn't have the mind share. It doesn't have Gensler promoting it, which Bitcoin has going for it. It doesn't have a lot of things that make something widely accepted for adoption, but it does have technical advantages, and it does have people like Kim.com heavily throwing his weight behind it, and he's got a lot of weight to throw behind it.
Yep.
What the fuck is Ken.com?
Kim, Kim, Kim.com. He changed his name to .com, so his name is Kim.com.
Yes.
He was the person who was running Mega Upload, who Hollywood convinced the FBI to somehow trigger a raid on his property in New Zealand for having copyrighted material on servers and people were using it to distribute movies and trade movies and stuff.
How did they?
Wow, our conversation just looped back.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they definitely were doing that.
So
But I mean,
they
like, that's
definitely
not
were
his
doing
fault.
that, and there were internal emails showing that his staff knew and was even promoting that it was happening because it got people to sign up for the service and he made money on it. But they seized all of his equipment. They stole his cars for some reason. Like they took all of his cars. Dude had a bunch of money, and they put it. They fucked him over.
Big time.
And so now he
The world we
has.
live in.
Now he has upgraded his security. Everything is encrypted and unfuckwithable to an extent, and it's called mega.nz, and it's a really good place to sign up to buy cloud storage, and you can. It's a good replacement for Google Drive.
As somebody who just downloads stuff regularly, I had seen that Mega switched over to something totally different. That
Yeah.
NZ thing.
Mega
It's
NZ, and it's it's
left,
like
too.
it's not a place where you can go shopping for files. It's a place where you can upload files and then share a link to it, just like Google Drive.
Yeah,
So-
other people have to do the
It's like
shopping
mega
part for
file.
you.
Oh, I remember using that shit.
Yeah, mega file
Okay.
upload. Yeah, right.
Do any of you play Scrabble, by the way?
Yeah, I recently played a game of no rules Scrabble, which is my wife's favorite way to play it because she's bilingual, and so I give her the advantage because it's a second language, English.
Damn it.
But then she can make up any word. You just put a bunch of
Yeah.
fucking bingos.
Yeah, it's not
Triangle.
it's frustrating, but if you have a you can have fun with it.
Okay.
My dog ate a bunch of scrambled tiles.
Also,
I
it
took
doesn't
him to
last
the
as long.
vet.
It goes faster.
No word yet.
I see what you did there. Oh no, I found this cool site. You can play, it's like Scrabble for free online, and you can play against other people. And what I like about it is that there's like a time limit. Oh, I don't know why I put the comment there.
That's all right.
There's like a time limit, so you can be like, I want this game to last 40 minutes, and each person has 20 minutes to make all their moves.
Sounds like a good game for the gaming layer or the tabletop layer.
Nah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say we should play during the show and have it on the screen while we're also having conversations and see how good.
Oh, that would be a blast.
Oh yeah, we could
Play.
do
See how
that
good-
next week. I'm down.
See how good we can keep a conversation while we're playing Scrabble.
Yeah.
I'm abysmal at Scrabble, so
Cool. Let's do it
'cause
next week.
I'm just
Sounds
bad
good.
at spelling. So
I wanted to do an episode on video games or gaming or something anyway, again, so we can do Scrabble while we talk about games, play a game, talk about a game. That sounds great.
that'd
You
be
guys
Also-
are going to say something like "Plogma is not a word." Plogma's
Plogma.
I am.
All right.
Plogma.
Also, there's some cool. I've been looking for like a new electric guitar, and I was like checking out like the Amazon Prime shit
Mm-hmm.
for it. And the one guitar that I wanted is the one. It was on sale yesterday, and then I checked when like my wife got home, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think?" And then that's when it stopped being fucking 40% off.
Speaking of,
what kind
No
of
Man's
guitar
Sky
hours
was,
later,
No Man's Sky was half off again. I think you missed that again.
it's like half off every other week.
Yeah.
What kind of
my computer's not running slow, but like I do probably need a fan for it, especially if I'm gonna put like. the
Oh
new
yeah, that's
CPU
right. Oh damn it.
Yep.
Especially
All
if
right.
I'm gonna put a new CPU in it, like it probably needs.
Actually, I've got I have a box of fans for you that were a box of Dave's fans that he gave to me. And I was going to give them to your dad because he's coming by today to drop off some more random stuff. And I completely left them at the house.
Yeah. Well, we should get those to John so we can play video games
Yeah.
with us without overheating.
I should really do that.
Or at some point I can buy my own shit, but
Yeah, look at he's just like mail me things as I sit in my opulent New York home above the clouds.
well, if they're just sitting there, I'll help you out. You know.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, you know what? I've never used that as a way to get something for free. That's brilliant. If they're just sitting there, I'll help you.
Yeah, I'm doing
Speaking
you
of
a
which,
favor. I'm helping you
you're-
declutter.
Your father showed up here the other day with he's like, I got some laser discs for you. I was like, all right, cool, what we got? He shows up with these huge like Panasonic cartridge things, right? And like I couldn't find any info. I had to post it up on the Vintage Computer Federation forums for them to like find a manual and link me to it. They're like this weird laser disc that was only used for like 6 months and they live in this big caddy, and you like slide it into a Panasonic machine, and it spins up like a big ass floppy.
So it was like a giant RAM disk. Do you remember RAM disk?
It was essentially a worm drive. It's like a worm disk, but it was a rewritable drive. You could use the disk a couple of times, but it had like a finite amount of times. It was weird.
I remember we had
the
them.
CD changer in the trunk of a car.
Oh yeah, the cartridges. Yeah.
Dude, no, this thing is huge. It's like a 12-inch record. I think I took a picture of it.
That's wild. I've used when I was in high school, the short period of time that I used Mac regularly, we had a RAM drive, and it was basically a CD sized, but cassette cartridge, and it was rewritable, and both sides you could write onto and stuff like that. I didn't know they made a giant like LP size.
Well, they had this thing. So they had these worm drives for a while that were huge.
Yeah, write once, read many.
Yeah, I've never seen one that wasn't just a 5 1/4 inch of any kind. But it's wild.
Speaking of old tech, let's bring it back around to the topic again. So we've talked about AI. We've talked about drag nets. We've talked about scraping data. In the revolution of money. Oh, the evolution. Yeah, the revolution's good too. Yeah. So
I can't find the actual photo, but that's essentially it. It's all blurry, yeah. But they're huge.
What's old tech still good for? We're already going back to records like vinyl and stuff. But at the same time, there's a bunch of stuff that's still useful that we don't use anymore because it's less convenient or it's slower, like the mail, right? If I text you, that can be intercepted and read by a third party listening into our conversations.
I'd know if somebody opened that letter.
But it's a little bit more like you're not going to stop a nation state from spying on people if they want to do it, but you can make it more expensive. You can make it more difficult, and less efficient for them to do it. So I just had this concept of, I was just thinking about what if that's the answer? If you want to maintain your privacy and stuff, you just start using the mail again and a pencil. Do you start?
You want me to find an excuse to keep using analog technology? Oh, don't twist my arm, Dave.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that we could use to protect ourselves against dragnet surveillance in the age of AI?
Yes, sir. Class, you've got a question?
Ox and a plow.
I mean, yeah, you're gonna you can plow anything with an ox and a plow. Okay, like you're golden, and you can eat the ox if all else fails. So,
I mean, I guess that's a good way to sever the fiber optic lines, but I don't know how it's going to help you with, privacy.
Hey, well, you've got to, if you're to the point where you're using an ox, you're probably somewhere so far away that you're not worried about privacy anymore.
Downtown Houston.
Yeah. Picked it up from, he rented it from Uber Ox.
in all honesty, from like a technical standpoint, analog tape is actually still pretty damn useful from the standpoint of it's cheap to manufacture, and you can put a shitload of data very tightly compressed onto analog tape and store it for a ridiculous amount of time, as long as it has, it's temperature controlled. So archival purposes, and it still gets used for that. Vinyl, I'm going to go ahead and be that guy. I mean, I don't think it sounds better, but vinyl is definitely a niche thing. I don't really think, other than the fact that people just enjoy the way that records sound and stuff like that, I don't really think there's any actual reason for it to still exist. I love them dearly. CDs are kind of the same way. Honestly, I've noticed lately, though, that CD quality audio is much better than I thought it was. Because I've got a bunch of discs that I've been buying recently. I like to buy like analog stuff. Or not analog, but like physical things. And some of the CDs I have sound better than my like digital version.
I wonder if that's because we've gotten so used to listening to streaming audio now, and that's like 96 at best kilobits per second.
320 is the average CD, so 320 kilobits.
Well, yeah, okay, we could go off on a technical conversation, I guess, but
yeah, why not? Let's go.
Yeah, there's so like 320 is a setting that you can encode an MP3 song in, and it's considered to be as good as a CD. It isn't archival though; it's still lossy. It's still removing
FLAC would
data
be nice.
from it. FLAC is an archival lossless format. There's a new one that I like a lot called Opus, and it's an open source codec. It is lossy, but the performance is insane. You can get the same thing. You can get transparent lossy encoding from like 48 kilobits per second. Like it's really freaking good.
Wow.
There's a bunch of good
That's
technologies
wild.
and stuff like that. Yeah. But back to analog, I do think that there's an opportunity to use analog with digital stuff together. I don't think it has to be. I don't think we have to be, Ted Kaczynski and
like one way or the other
to the middle of nowhere and not ever use technology and throw it all away. We can use some of the stuff that we have. I just don't think it has to be on the internet all the time. I think that's where I stand.
Shortwave radio using non-digital receiver and transmitter.
I'd get behind that. That just sounds like fun.
I do think it'd be cool.
And no license because I'm an anarchist.
That no license either. I have a story about that.
I want to open a purely digital restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's made in a microwave.
Yeah, they have those. They're called ghost kitchens.
Ghost
Have
kitchen?
Dude, look at the next time you are just sitting at home, look at your delivery app on your phone.
So what I'm doing right now?
Yeah, okay. So if you start looking, okay, and like you live in New York, so it might be a little tougher, but like for me, if I start looking, I'll start to notice restaurants that I've never seen before and that don't seem to exist or anything like that. And what they are is they're a warehouse that has the same menu as the one right next to it, and they have little tiny microwavey kitchens in there, and you spend $12, and the DoorDash guy drives over there and gets his little box, and it comes to you. We have one in town that's called it's like the Flingin' Chicken or something, and it does not exist. And it makes the same sandwich as another one right next door.
A friend of mine wanted to open one up recently.
Wild.
He ended up not doing it, but this is where I learned about ghost kitchens. And the way that he wanted to do it, I thought was fucking brilliant, because you can have a building with one kitchen, and it doesn't have to be like cheap microwave stuff. It could be a legit kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, they can make good food.
Yeah, you can spin up 3 different virtual restaurants with completely different menus, different themes, put them on Uber Eats and stuff, make a website for it so that it has a vibe to it. It's like, oh, it's this kind of food, that kind of thing. And not only can you run multiple like delivery service only restaurants out of one kitchen that way, you can also see what works in the area that you're in. So if a particular restaurant isn't doing well, you get rid of it, you make a new menu with a different idea and a different concept, and you run with that one. And if you ever get one that takes off, it gets to be really popular, you can spin it off into a brick and mortar restaurant and actually open a physical location. So
I definitely have those in New York.
That's creepy.
But they're not like, I'm going to be honest, I think they probably started here. I remember seeing something like documentary kind of thing about it, where it was a guy who just bought a bunch of frozen pizzas and then would take them and put them in pizza boxes and then deliver them.
What a brilliant bastard!
Yeah.
Greg used to do that.
Really,
Greg from Rivet.
That's awesome.
He would go and buy these. The way that I remember him saying that he did it was he would go buy these like 75-cent frozen pizza things, and he had a little website for his apartment complex where where people were like, they're hungry or they're stoned or they're lazy or whatever, and they're like, I really don't want to go out and get something. I'll just grab some frozen pizzas. I can imagine it being great for dorms and stuff.
That's smart as hell.
So he'd charge him like $4 for a pizza and carry him up there.
As the kind of person that I am, I would abuse the hell out of that privilege.
He wouldn't even cook them. He would be like, all right, preheat your oven to this temperature. I'll be on my way up. By the time I get there, you're preheated and you can pop it in.
That's brilliant. Okay, that's awesome. I would use that so much if I could just call a random, like if I went into the laundry room and there was like a call my number and I'll deliver you a frozen pizza. I would give the guy $5 for it. Like, why not? I don't have to leave my house. Perfect.
And it's fast because he lives downstairs.
I'm supporting my local
Local business,
apartment
yeah.
complex brilliant businessman.
Yeah.
And that's what Kim.com does now.
Yeah. That's his new fortune. Right. So insects. Thank you. Insects. So insects are dying off. There's a lot of problems in the world.
Here's your problem.
A lot of problems in the world. One of them is insects. So what's up with this? This is an insect recipe for, is it fertilizer?
No, it's actually
it's
dog
pet
food.
meals.
So
okay.
We have a 13-year-old terrier mix, and she's overweight, and she's got hip problems and arthritis and all that stuff. And I got to work on something. So I went to the pet store to change up her diet, get her really good, nice, senior food diet, dog food, spend a healthy penny. So I'm going there Sunday, and I see this, and I go, oh my gosh, I got to take a picture of this and send it to my red-pilled brother.
Just to enrage him?
East Coast, yeah. I didn't buy it, but I couldn't believe it. And
so is this like made of bugs?
Yeah.
It's made out of bugs, yeah. And so I couldn't believe it. So, and it's got the QR code, and I have a brand new phone, just got it Friday. Hate the son of a bitch. And so I'm trying to get the QR code to work on the bag, but it's kind of tweaked there, and that's probably why I couldn't get it to work on my phone. And it was like, well, do you want to have access to the internet with blah 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 blah? Trying to answer yes, and trying to scan the thing, and it wouldn't. And but I had to take a picture of it. But look how cheap it is. I don't know if you can tell. It's like $39 or something.
Oh, it's for the big bag. Oh,
look at that. It's
that's not that cheap.
It kind of sounds expensive if you buy cheap dog food, but this is like premium stuff. Now, me personally, I couldn't buy it for my dog because I don't think there's been enough FDA studies on this stuff for
feeding your dog bugs
for the rest of its life or for years. God knows what's going to happen.
That's not a good idea.
I think it makes sense. Number one, dogs don't typically live long enough for long-term effects to matter.
Okay.
So it's the sad truth. Number two,
I'm not into my days.
I'm not saying you shouldn't take care of your dog and feed him quality food, because that does help them with the years that they do have to have a better life.
Right.
But number two, like, we feed them some bullshit already.
We feed them some awful food.
Like, it's legal to feed dogs some bullshit. Like, probably actual bullshit, literally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be. Honestly, I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I'm not even against cricket flour, to be honest with you.
Well, here you go. I have some cricket flour in my prep stuff. I'm a prepper.
What the hell is cricket flour?
It's ground up crickets. What they do is they there's a giant place in Austin, Texas, by the way, with robotics and everything. It's the biggest cricket farm. And what you do is you take the crickets and they freeze them, and then they mash them, and they grind them up to powder, and it's got all that protein in it. And
then they stick it in a stew.
And quite honestly, here's what I
mash them, stick them in a stew.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of egg, what are they, like 1x1 egg carton? The cardboard things.
Wait, is that an egg carton for one egg? A 1x1?
How you get a box of 48 eggs or something, and they have the brown carton.
Right, the separators that keep them from being broken. Yeah.
Well, I have a stack that's about 4 feet high above my freezer in my garage, and the idea is because they work great for crickets and raising crickets.
Yeah, they do.
So part of my prep idea is to actually, if lights go out and grid down scenario, I'm going to raise crickets and feed the family crickets protein.
There you go.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, also,
my wife now has an allergy towards shrimp, shellfish, and she grew up on this stuff in Mexico, and it's the iodine. It's the iodine. Well, now what I've read is that's not going to work for her. Crickets don't work for her, because if you have a shellfish allergy, you're probably prone to having a cricket allergy.
Do you think, is it the
Well,
exoskeleton?
probably.
What is it?
It's the exoskeleton.
That's
Interesting.
wild, though.
Yeah.
My dad had an allergy to iodine. He couldn't eat shellfish. Happened that shrimp was his favorite food.
That
So
would
every
suck.
now and then, he would just take some Benadryl, get some shrimp, and his lips would swell up like the Nutty
and it's
Professor.
burning in the stomach for her. Yeah,
I don't get that. People that are just like, I love this food. I'm going to go ahead and have some Benadryl and go for it anyways. It's like, you're allergic to that. Maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, no amount of Benadryl is making that not a bad idea.
But anyway, insect farming is billions of people on this planet eat insects every day. In the West, we're opposed to it. We think it's I'm above eating insects, and yes, I'm not partake of the insect varieties.
But they'll hit up
Like
Taco
that,
Bell.
you were Winston Churchill for a moment there, and I liked it. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I wasn't against. I'm not against eating bugs. Honestly, I've like everybody has, I'm sure, been given like the crickets or like the chocolate covered bug that everybody makes the joke about, and like you eat it, and you're like, I did that, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's not the most appealing thing in the world. But what is the issue?
Fine.
What is the issue with the anti, like, people are like religiously against it or something? Maybe not religiously, but they're politically against it.
I'm sure somebody is.
And is it because of the suggestion that if we stopped eating red meat and we instead got protein from insect sources, that we would have like fewer cow farts and thus less methane in the atmosphere as a greenhouse gas kind of thing? Is it related to climate change? Is why people are against it?
It's related to that as well. Yes. So
it's because we'd slowly become aliens. That's what it is. We'd slowly become reptiles. I don't know what you're talking. That's where the lizard people in New York come from.
Yeah, we'd start to do that thing that geckos do, where they lick their own eyes to clean stuff.
It's hot.
Scare people on airplanes. That kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, in all seriousness, so I don't have a problem with it, and I've eaten lots of different bugs and enjoy it. I mean, I think it's good. It's tasty. And so that's just me. I'm a little weird. I know.
My boss's kid used to get them just kind of as a joke. We'd go to St. Augustine. He'd get like a little box of like, cheese flavored mealworms or something funny. But now when I go to his house, he legitimately in his cabinet has like a little bag that's got like, it's like a packaged bag of snack bugs, and they're just like roasted and salted, and like you open it and it looks like a little nut, because you can kind of identify like you were a grasshopper at some point. I mean, they're fine. They're kind of nutty, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Crickets are definitely nutty. So
kind of like a nutty taste.
So a couple of years ago, my now son-in-law, he didn't know us for a very long time at that point. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, so my birthday dinner, we're sitting at home and we're all eating, and I go, okay, I got crickets for everybody. We're gonna have crickets. That's part of my birthday wish. It's like, oh.
All right, for your birthday, we'll do it for your birthday.
Oh God, was he a trooper at least and went for it?
Yeah, he was a trooper. He was a trooper.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
You got to with the father-in-law, like
damn right.
Yeah, like you have to. We're all married. We know how that shit is.
He got his PhD, and now he's going into the Army with a PhD. In physics. So
interesting.
That should pan out pretty decently.
So he's
he's like a neuroscientist type kind of guy.
Yeah, he's gonna end up in a pretty cool position.
Wait, awesome. So he's a neurophysicist?
Something like that.
Sounds amazing.
So he's gonna be
holy
people, so he's giving people LSD.
Brains. He slices like mice brains, and his first paper that he was working on for his PhD was sending a pulse through a cell and measuring the distance and the speed or something. I don't know.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it has
information
to do with
propagation.
It has to do with neuroscience.
That's cool.
I tried to read the abstract, and I swear it was a different language.
You're just like, I can't. My head hurts. Like you feel like your brain's rolling trying to read it.
It was
God.
It was really
cool. I like the idea of a neurophysicist just basically being a fancy psychonaut, like somebody who's just like exploring the mind, the limits of the mind kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Well, I mean, he's blasting a mouse brain with electricity. The guy's obviously got some level of like mad scientist in there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
could do that. I could
Budway.
blast a brain with electricity and see what happens.
Tina's got some mad scientist in her. I mean, she does freaking like I don't even know what Tina does.
She's microbiology R&D.
Yeah, but she like literally just like
she literally
slices crap together and like grows things.
well, she does a lot of cloning, a lot of DNA editing, and a lot of they're solving rare genetic diseases with gene therapy, that kind of thing. So yeah, some mad scientist shit.
I hope Tina knows how cool I think
Yeah.
she is.
Unfortunately, that means my granddaughter or they're going to either move to probably Baltimore. That's where there's a lot of Bethesda research labs, or it's going to be San Antonio. So who knows where they're going to end up.
Interesting places to visit, though. So at least you got some destinations.
Well, if they end up in Research Triangle Park, hit me up. That's where I'll be.
Oh, okay.
Or they could end up in like China or something.
A lot of research there.
Working for
like a
reindeers.
Wuhan thing, right? Yeah.
Better insects.
She's and the daughter. She's got a master's degree and she's working for the government. I mean, they're set.
His kids are way better set than I am. Like, my God.
Yeah. I'm blessed, fortunate. I shouldn't
That's
say
a good
blessed
thing.
because that doesn't fit for me. I'm agnostic, so how can I say blessed?
It just
That
means you were a
implies a
good
deity.
dad.
What?
It just means you were a good dad. Well played. You did well.
I don't know if that means you were a good dad because like some people that are very
Got a lot to do with
successful,
it.
they've got shit dads.
Yeah, that's true.
Education's a big part. Education's a big part of our family. So.
Yeah, some people are successful as a fuck you to their parents.
Yeah, I think that's my friend Carla.
Yeah.
They wanted me to be a doctor. I'm going to be the world's most successful musician.
But why are
do
you
it.
not horrible.
Well, right on, man.
What else was on the list?
Well, there was one more thing on the list. It didn't have anything to do with CB radios, which I grew up with. I thought they were awesome.
I love
they were.
I do like the idea of a world where everybody has a CB radio base station at home, and whenever you want to get a hold of somebody, it's
Smokey and the Bandit really did that.
I do. It's called
stuff.
Alexa.
Alexa. Yeah,
We can set up if you want, Dave. We can just set up like CB communication. Well,
Yeah.
you're leaving soon.
relay stations, whatever it takes. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just communicate. Like I'll just be sitting in my house. And I'll hear like a, it'll be like you contacting at 1 a.m.
I've got two things. I'll do the less depressing one. So Google claims quantum supremacy in its race to solve the traveling salesman problem and improve efficiency in the global supply chain. You guys familiar with the traveling salesman problem?
What the fuck did you say?
So you know about salesmen, right?
Death of a Salesman. I know that one.
I've got a couple of boats out in the harbor right now.
Yeah. So some people go around trying to sell shit in different cities. And if you're a traveling salesman, and let's say you have 4 cities to hit, right? You could also say this is a band going on tour problem or whatever you want.
You can just, there's such a easier way to fucking say that.
Well, it's known. It's like a, if you look up the traveling salesman problem, it's like a thing that you'll
For salesmen.
For salesmen.
For salesmen, not for the rest of us, I want like a
Motherfucker,
traveling donut shop, okay? I want a traveling speakeasy tour problem, okay?
Whatever your logistical issue is in your industry.
I want a traveling geocaching one, all right? Stop trying to upsell me this salesman bullshit.
I don't want to be a salesman. They don't have
you
a
heard of the
futures
traveling
anymore.
Salesman problem? Have you heard of the traveling salesman?
She's a fucking doctor, okay? Hasn't heard of the traveling salesman problem.
Have you heard of the traveling?
Hey! I'm not
Yeah.
sick. No solicitation here.
Have you heard of the traveling speakeasy problem? It's when you want to hit all of the speakeasies in a given area only once, but then wind up back home when you're drunk in the shortest amount of distance, right? Isn't that so much more relatable than the traveling salesman problem? Like, who gives a fuck?
Efficient.
Who can? What are you in the? What is this? The 1950s?
Yeah.
We selling Tupperware door to door?
Honestly, this
1920s,
is
1920s, prohibition.
This is just the traveling in New York problem. That's all that is. That's the traveling in New York problem. See, if anything, that's more complicated because then you have to take in different trains and train delays into account. Traveling salesman problem. We're just reenacting the Music Man.
Well, this is why Google is focusing their quantum computing efforts on it, because Google Maps has to figure out your fucking New York travel problem for you and tell you what route to take in the least amount of time, right?
They should just ask me. I'll tell them.
It takes a quantum computer to figure out traveling in New York.
No, it doesn't. It takes 4 brain cells. You walk down 42nd Street and you pick the train that's going to get.
But what
you
if it's a
close.
race?
What if it's a race?
Yeah. And you win by being first, but also most efficient.
You get a helicopter. I don't know what to tell you.
Most efficient is the part of that. Yeah.
Helicopters aren't efficient. There's electric
depending on what you're measuring for efficiency. Yeah.
There's electric
Greta Thunberg would disagree with the efficiency of helicopters.
What if it was an electric helicopter?
The children in the cobalt mines would disagree that that is an efficient way to do it.
What about the people in your butt? No.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Skateboarders.
Yeah, that was, I couldn't keep that rant going on long enough.
So yeah,
it was plenty fun.
You can route 4 cities pretty easy, but if you have like 61 cities to route, then there's more combinations of possible routes than there are atoms in the universe. So it gets really complex.
Why'd you say 61? Can't we like round up?
I rounded up to 61.
No, round 69. It's right there. Honestly, look, we can give this problem to Stockfish and it'll solve it.
Yeah, this is some stoner discussion here. This is going to be whenever we transition to, what is it, 8 p.m. in September that we're going to?
You tell me.
Yeah, well, I have to go look back at the GI that passed, but whenever we transition to Wednesday evenings, this will be a lot more fun of a conversation because then I'll have a brewski.
Yeah.
But basically, that's what quantum computing promises to solve and make more efficient, is that all the global supply chains will be more efficient with a quantum computer run by Google.
So
or IBM.
I got a question. Do you think quantum computing could help chess?
Help?
Yeah, like
no, it would probably destroy it.
So no, like the chess computers, because like each move, like there's only like there's no in between like move for like chess, really, right? It's like kind of a 1 or a 0. Either you did move that piece or you didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if the complexity of chess is enough to need a quantum computer.
Is like the most complicated game that has 0 luck in it. So like if you think about like Scrabble, right? Scrabble is incredibly luck based. Risk, incredibly luck based because there's fucking dice in it. And dice is essentially
no dice in Risk.
Yeah, there are.
No.
Yes, there are. When you fight other countries, there's dice that you roll.
That's. Oh, I thought it was Stratego.
Yeah, don't act like I'm a dumb butt. I know things. Look,
I meant Stratego. I thought I was grabbing Stratego.
Well, Stratego is just complicated chess, you know. But even with that, there's luck involved with how, like, you can optimize your pieces, but it's not standardized.
Let me ask you this, John. Is it already the case though that really good modern computers can beat anybody in chess, basically, or at least compete?
Yeah. So it's very famous. There was Gary Kasparov versus what was the name? Deep
IBM Blue.
IBM
Blue.
Yeah.
That's the one that broke his finger.
And Kasparov won the first game, and then like 5 years later, he got like it changed the way we thought about chess. Moves that we thought were stupid and made no sense, and that broke the principles of chess, wound up being great in certain situations. So like right now, yes, you can't really beat a computer.
So that's the point that if you read about the concept of, they've changed the name recently. I think politically they've changed the name somehow, but there's a concept known as quantum supremacy, which basically says that the quantum computer can solve tasks exponentially better, quicker, more efficiently than a classical like Turing machine computer can.
It
And if
says
there isn't
some
that
tasks. It's not all tasks. Yeah,
some
that's
tasks.
my point. Is like, would chess fall into that category? Because there is no randomness in it, right?
Well,
Everything is one move at a time.
My point there is that maybe, sure, but does it meaningfully matter? If you have
Yes.
somebody with a really fast computer like my desktop or any modern supercomputer versus somebody with a quantum machine, are they both just as bad to go up against? Are they both going to dominate you as a chess player?
But
And
it's
do
how
you
you
need the
learn.
quantum computer?
But it's how you learn. I'll put it this way. Think about it this way. Like quantum computers, we're gonna like discover things, right?
Mhm.
But we're gonna still learn those things in school, and then we're gonna have to think, and like we're not just gonna plug into the computer, solve going to Mars. You know what I mean? Or go find aliens. Like that's not gonna be the thing. We're still gonna have to learn and make assumptions and make changes and update the computer and do all those things on our own end. So computers itself, it's not like people stopped playing chess because computers were invented, and it's more fun to watch two computers battle it out. You know, I don't want to watch Stockfish versus Deep Blue versus like there's like 5 other like different programs, computer, right?
Sounds like something Vegas would be into.
You literally can do that right now.
Yeah.
There's like a constant Twitch stream the
okay.
computers constantly playing each other.
Battle
with
bots,
different
but chess.
Yeah, with different variations and different parameters and stuff like that. So like, but the thing is like we then use those computer ideas to make ourselves better at chess. So it's more fun watching somebody do something crazy because they learned it from a computer, or like, hey, I'm not going to play the computer line because they know the computer line, but I can do this other weird thing that may not be as that's not going to be as intuitive or something they haven't studied. So
I see. I think I see what you're saying, and I think that the answer would be, and I don't know the math on this, but I think the answer would be that you got 2 players, and at any given stage, you have a finite possibility of the moves that you can make, and so you would need a routine to compute every possible combination of moves from both players during a game, and if that takes thousands of years or something, if that takes 10 years to compute all possible combinations of moves based on all possible combinations of moves from the other player, that's all the possibilities that exist. So if a quantum computer can do that more efficiently and do it in a couple of minutes
literally
versus
2 seconds.
10 years, if it takes an like exorbitant amount of time to compute that, then quantum computers could be tuned to that problem and come up with interesting strategies.
Yeah, after you said it that way,
cool.
I feel like the quantum computers would be able to more quickly optimize certain moves and be like, no, this is stupid and not worth computing quicker.
Yeah, because then it can lay out all the possible future moves based on a current state and say, here's the best move you can possibly make statistically.
Yeah, and on the idea of Zuckerberg versus Musk in a UFC fight, I think they should do chess boxing. That's what they should really do. Go watch chess boxing if you haven't seen it. It's pretty hilarious.
I've heard about
2
it before,
grown adults in essentially pajamas play a game of chess, then fight each other. Both are usually not very good fighters. There was one that was kind of like famous because it was like a social media person recently, and she is not a great fighter. It was really fun to watch. 2 people trying to fight and do some chess. But actually, there was like some controversy over it too, so it's worth watching.
They could do it in the new dome, the Madison Square Garden sphere that's in Vegas that is lit up now. I don't know if you've seen that. It looks cool. It looks amazing.
Oh, that thing was real?
It's real as fuck. Yeah.
Cool. And why is it called Madison Square Garden?
Because it's the same guy that owns Madison Square Garden.
Oh.
And he built the sphere, and then now they've got one going on somewhere in Europe that's being built, like London or something, maybe.
Brilliant idea.
Yeah, and then he spun off
like the Epcot ball,
and he did a weird thing financially where he actually, even though the sphere is new, he was building it with the same company as Madison Square Garden, but then he spun off Madison Square Garden from Sphere into 2 different companies. So that sphere inherited the stock history from Madison Square Garden. It's an interesting like manipulation of
Clever.
stuff. And yeah, it's two different companies now, but it looks fantastic. It's a big screen on the outside. It's a big screen on the inside. It looks like something that I would really like to go see, like a Pink Floyd laser light show, tripping on LSD or something.
I want to go rewatch it. I feel like that was the way James Cameron wanted you to see Avatar 2.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Avatar 1, you know, before like it needed to be in IMAX. Avatar 2 needed to be in the fucking
sphere.
If you're not seeing Avatar 2 in the Epcot sphere at Disney, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, so Zuck and Musk should fight in that thing, and then it should be a winner take. Like they should do boxing chess or chess boxing, and then winner takes all. Play for pinks. The winner takes both companies.
Winner
is going to kick his ass.
I don't want either of them owning either of those things. No, that's the problem. I think winner gives it to me. I think that's what it is. Loser gets to keep their shit in their shame. Winner has to give it to me. That should be the rule. And on that note, I gotta go. I'm exhausted and I'm fading.
Yeah, we're done here anyway. I think we could discuss in the replies. Let's talk about a little bit more about analog tech and how that could be used. Maybe combining digital and analog. Maybe take a Battlestar Galactica approach and just have all the computers, but don't network them. That could be useful too. Yeah, looks like David's gone already, so let's kick him out of the screen here. And all right, I'm queued up for the outro. So anything on our way out here we can wrap up with?
Hey, Dave, I sent you a DM. If you check that out.
I will.
About the numbers back in March, April, whatever, way back.
I see it. All right, I got it pulled up.
All right,
John, good morning.
Yeah, I'll plug a class I'm teaching. How about that? I've never plugged a fucking thing on this shit.
When is it?
Website Friday. Maybe I'll plug. There's literally one person.
That should be the plug. I'm teaching a class on Friday. Figure it out. See you there.
No, I don't want people Googling me to try to find it. What? I don't want to tell people to start searching for me on the internet because
First2.com.
I'm sure weird shit will happen. I don't see it. It was somewhere, but I don't see it now. Where's the hell? There. Okay, click on this shit because it's not on the website. So I gotta go to here, and then here it is. Improv Nerd. I'm teaching a class. I thought it's kind of cool. So I'm curious if anybody would act on like on Den would actually want to watch it because it's or like take it because it's like it's going to be like a lecture class on improv. So
interesting.
Like you don't have to have ever done any improv, and I'm going to explain the concept. Like, have you ever seen those videos on fucking internet where they're like the term infinity explained from beginner to expert, like the 5 levels of understanding that. That's kind of how I'm going to explain it. So it's going to be like from beginner ideas to like advanced concepts of the idea of yes and
that does sound something like something I'd be into. Actually, you should throw a link into the Coffee Lair. Also, you should add it to your website because it's not on your workshops list.
These are super like these are for fucking forever ago. But yeah, I'll throw it up there for sure. I didn't even know that. I literally just now realized that he actually made. Oh, he made a video for it too. Oh, but then he put the video that's unavailable.
John's got people that make stuff for him.
No, I made the video and I sent it to him. You want to see the video?
Yeah, pull it up.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I dare you.
Should I? All right, so I'll do the one that doesn't have the copyrighted song in it.
That sounds perfect.
Because we got in a little bit of trouble before.
Yeah, we've already talked about Roseanne. I don't want to get. We've already got attention on us.
Yeah. All right. Here's the video.
Don't know how you do what you do. I don't know how I ever got a hold of you. what you do. You know I don't mind when you're doing what you do.
All right, so I'm going to go to radicalagreement.com, it looks like.
Yeah, and it's actually not on that website though.
That
I
was
just
really good.
realized.
That was really good.
Yeah, I think I made that in like an hour. And
Far
the
out.
song, can you name the band?
Was it Cardboard Paradise? I don't know.
Oh, that's a really, really good guess. It's not though.
Okay.
It's a really good guess.
You gonna tell us the answer, or am I gonna? That's it. Bye. Nope, you're wrong. Bye.
I always love that. That's so fun. I love doing that. Being like, oh, do you know what it is? No. All right, cool. Hey, have you seen that movie? No, I haven't.
All right.
It's the Duppies. That's the Duppies.
Oh, it's Duppies. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a suggested donation class. So like, it's literally whatever people feel like paying. It's cool that like 2 people have already like paid for it, which is kind of cool. Because I was just like, here's the Zoom link. Just show up, and then I'll throw my Venmo up there during class, like whatever. And it's cool that people already are pre-registering.
There you go. Nice.
Yes.
Cool.
There's the nice you have to type all of that into
Memorize
the internet
that.
bar.
Yeah.
You have to memorize this. Don't forget it.
This link is going to be in the coffee layer, maybe the humor layer, maybe the
maybe I'll put in the humor layer and see what the fuck happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought that's like kind of a fun way. Like, hey, if you want to show up and like not do anything, just fucking listen to me give a fucking college master's level lecture on
here's how this shit works and how to think about it.
Yeah. Come fucking do it. Like, why the fuck not?
That's a great pitch.
And then I got, and then I'm working on a book. So this will be, and this will end up being a chapter in a book probably.
Nice.
So we'll see.
Cool, man. Friday, I'll try to make it. I'll try to show up to that virtually.
Sure, that'd be awesome. It'd be fun to have you. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm going to suggest we talk
everybody.
about.
Keep it square. That's
don't be a square, man. Be a square if you want. Do what you want.
Triangled.
Yeah. All those things. Go square.
No,
square
keep it triangled.
Yeah, square the circle. I don't know.
Keep it right angled.
Let's play not chess. Let's play Scrabble next time and talk about games. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds great.
All right, here's a song called Into the Dragon by a fellow who had a show at Satchel's yesterday here in Gainesville, Tristan Harvey, aka Y'all Weird. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible. But that conclusion is laughable, so with for all detachable from the mandible. You see it now?